Today's episode of My Worst Date is brought to you by Audible.
Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/myworstdate.
Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Cheers!
Heartwarming email too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Do you want me to read
It's not the one asking Christina for the Amazon recommendation
Dude,
for her.
Dude, I need to hop on getting us paid for that. Because
Honestly,
do you know
shit.
how many people I've told about that $27 fucking toy that will take you to the moon?
Reach out to the manufacturer and be
I
like,
do.
hey.
They're like, hi, I don't know
I'm
if you
looking for
know
new
me.
sponsors.
Exactly. Oh my God. What if they're like, have you tried these other fun things?
You're
that
like,
we
please
make?
send them to me for free, and I'll
will
tell you
try
which
them.
one I like best.
This is awesome. Yeah, I've probably sold like 5 or 6 by this point, at least.
You should be like a door-to-door salesman. Like, I remember people used to come door-to-door selling like vacuum cleaners when I was a little kid. You should do that with like that
With
sex
sex
toy.
toys?
Just that one.
We actually, funny enough, have a special guest this week where our friend Amy is hanging out with us drinking, and she just raised her hand, and so I know I've sold at least one.
Yes. So if you hear some laughter
Yeah.
in the background, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah,
I
So
feel like
hi.
I feel like it's the person we talk about all the time. Who
Yes.
is gonna? It's yeah.
I love that we have a special guest. This is really
So-
exciting.
We got an email, and the subject of the email came through our website, and the subject of the email was, "Even though I'm an atheist, I still say you're doing God's work."
Oh,
So this is from Maggie, who is one of our patrons. And she said, I discovered you a year ago through Lady Pod Squad, which is a group that we belong to.
A really amazing
Yes.
community of female podcasters. Yeah.
Truly amazing, so supportive. Boobies and Newbies is part of it, who I think Boobies and Newbies, I would almost call Kelly one of our sister podcasts.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
She's like the best human being.
Yeah. Keep it weird.
In the world, yeah.
Keeping it casual. All these ladies, we're all part of Lady Pod Squad.
Yep.
I mean, definitely check them out. Lady Pod Squatters. I mean, we are like, we're not the big ones out there. There's not as many female run podcasts that are
And
are
almost
huge. It's
every
very exciting.
lady pod squatter is an independent podcaster, which is really, really cool. Yeah.
It is. It's really exciting. She said she was instantly hooked. It was the perfect time in my life for you to walk in because I was going through a separation divorce of my own. I really felt like I could relate to a lot of the issues and insecurities brought up in each episode. I've kind of already said all that in LPS Twitter group, which I'm part of the Twitter people. So she's kind of shared that with me before. She said recently I'd gotten a new job. While it was a total upgrade, I don't really get to listen to podcasts anymore, and all my subscriptions fell by the wayside. Unfortunately, that includes My Worst Date, which I listen to weekly. So the deal here is I've literally had the worst year of my life. Finalized my divorce. One of my best friends passed away in a fire. God, and there was a breast cancer scare. Like literally
Oh my God.
when I complain about not having a job, just I'm reminded like, yeah.
Perspective. Yeah.
I promised myself no feels as I started dating this for the first time. I fell for this guy and was seeing that I was seeing for 2.5 months. Everything was great until last week when he decided he wasn't sure he could feel the same way for me and was confused about what he wanted. So on and so on. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I've fallen into an understandable depression. Girl, we get it.
Yeah.
A lot of ugly crying to Robin.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yes.
Understand all of that. And laying awake thinking about how garbage everything is. Girl, we have all been there.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, semi recently even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said, today I decided I wanted to listen to some good old fashioned bad date stories. So I grabbed one I had in my archives. It was Pussy Embargo, your anniversary episode.
Oh my God.
I did say it has been a while. The moment when you all discuss how irresponsible people are who go on dating sites that don't have their shit together and waste your time by misrepresenting themselves spoke to me on such a fucking deep level. It was a reminder I needed that everyone has to drudge through this shit dating world and learn a lot about people in the process. Clearly, if this guy thought there was something better out there for him after nearly 3 months of telling me how wonderful I was and that he cared about me so much, boy, ain't ready for prime time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's just going to keep having unsuccessful relationships. Girl, right.
Yep.
Sometimes there's a reason you're still single. Of course, I have wonderful friends who have all told me the same thing, but there is something about hearing it from an unbiased third party on the other side of the country that is a real splash of water in the face. So since I can't support you with my listens every week, I decided to give to your Patreon because you are doing something great here and really helping other people. Thank you so much for your hard work that you put into this. I wanted you to know that you genuinely gave me a little boost of confidence. Of course, it will falter again, but this is a step in the right direction. And I mean,
my God.
shit, at least
Listen.
I'm free to have more chances for bad dates to send you, right?
I mean, we have my ride or die
God.
Amy here, and she knows
Yeah.
that like I cry for fucking nothing. And while there are not tears rolling down my cheeks,
Yeah.
my eyes just got so full. That touched me like so deeply. That's so wonderful. And speaking of like, I know that all of us have had ups and downs and moments of like extreme depression or anxiety in this last year. This year has been kind of tough in that way. And like, I can so relate to that. And I know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And so it makes me feel so much better because I understand what that feels like. And so it's so wonderful that we could be a part in any way of her feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to dig yourself out whenever you feel
are not
bad.
alone, Maggie.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
You're not alone.
No, I said it a few episodes ago. It's emails like that, you know, I don't know. Maybe sometimes I can be like a little self-involved or in my own head where I'm like, this is happening to me. And, you know, you put the blinders on and pain can sometimes feel very isolating. And it's really cool that we've created something where it's not isolating, where it's bringing us together. We can all like be like, this fucking sucks together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something about yelling this fucking sucks when you're with a whole bunch of people that feels powerful.
Yeah.
Versus like when you're saying like this fucking sucks, like
And it
alone
can
on
be
your
like
couch.
diminishing.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you feel our hug all the way from across the U.S.
Yeah.
Yes.
Girl, we're here for you. Hopefully you hear this in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah. A year later, you'll hear this, but
Like,
you
oh,
know,
good.
then we'll know for sure that you got your sticker that we sent you. I
Yeah.
put it in the mail earlier this week. So
Yay.
Yeah, and we appreciate any support that you give us listening.
yeah,
and, I mean, all of it. And
Wonderful.
At some point, hopefully, you'll have a nice weekend where you can just binge and catch up. So,
Yeah.
Or like Thelma and Louise road trip style.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on in the background.
there you go. Come out to LA and visit us.
Yeah, and the
there
time
you
it takes you to drive to LA, you can probably get through that back catalog.
go. You're all caught up.
What else we got going on this week?
Well, okay, so not to make our opening super heavy, but this is something that we thought we would talk about and forgot to talk about it in our last episode. Someone on our Facebook group brought up this subject, and I thought it was kind of an interesting thing for us to discuss, and that is, what are our beliefs on soulmates? What do we believe about soulmates? And I think that that's kind of interesting because I think it's so deeply personal, and I think it changes.
This was Rachel Esquivel, right?
Was it? Oh, it wasn't Rachel who asked it.
No.
No, it wasn't. Okay.
No, I can't remember who asked
Somebody had brought up something about having like multiple lives and having people.
it.
Yeah,
Rachel
that was
did bring
Rachel.
that
Okay.
up. Yes.
Yeah.
I there's a part of me that really strongly believes that.
Oh yeah, where like maybe your mom in this life like was your daughter in a past life, or like your souls like attract the
like
the
maybe
souls
like I
that
think
you
what
are.
she said was that like maybe you, for instance, maybe you have a hard time letting go of someone that you know was bad for you because in a past life your souls were connected in some way, and so you still have that soul connection. I don't know necessarily if I believe that, but I think it's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. I think it's weird because I think that that throughout your life I do believe you can have more than one soulmate. I think you have soulmates that are friends. I think, and I think all of us have gone through, I mean, I would say my first soulmate as a friend was my friend Sarah, who was my very best friend since we were probably 4 and 5 years old, living, and sharing almost the same backyard. And, I mean, that is somebody who to this day is still one of the most important people in my life. And
It
I'm
makes
so
me
glad.
think of like Anne of Green Gables, which I know is your
Girl,
favorite thing,
girl.
kindred spirits.
Girl, Sarah Miller Chirac is my fucking Diana. Like, I swear to God, we are bosom friends.
Yeah.
We are like, that is weird. Whenever I watch Anne of Green Gables, when we had there was a time when we were not friends, when we had a separation of friendship that was very difficult for me, like literally tearing up right now, even thinking about it. It was really hard for me to have that and to go through that and not have her in my life. And, I would, there was times where I would just watch Anne of Green Gables or Beaches and just like fucking just sob.
Beaches.
It's so stupid to say. It sounds like the dumbest
No,
thing.
it
in the world.
doesn't.
It's not.
But
Friend
we've talked
breakups are sometimes
friendships.
harder. They're sometimes harder than relationship breakups. Like, no kidding. They really are. I remember whenever I had a friendship breakup, whenever I was like 18 or 19, and I was sobbing. Like, I was sobbing to the point where like I had people around me who were like holding me. I was like heaving about
had
losing
the-
this friend,
the breakup. Mine just slowly like ghosted.
fizzle away.
Sure.
Fizzle
And I've
away,
had
and
friends
that's-
like that where they were important in my life at the time. And that's what I think about soulmates, right? There's people who are in your life for a certain amount of time who are meant to be there in that certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Right?
They're
Like,
what you needed at that moment.
absolutely.
Yeah.
My first boyfriend in high school, I still look at him as somebody who was very important to me in that time. And I still remember, and I think I talked about this before on the podcast, where I was like, I literally, after we'd broken up and after like the heartache and after everything and after coming out of that, remember saying to him, like, I appreciate having you as my first real heartbreak because it taught me what it was like to have a good boyfriend, to have like what I deserved.
I mean, and even if you don't have a good boyfriend, like, I think that people serve their purpose in your life. Like,
Right.
I think that happens,
100%.
like where it's just like, okay, this wasn't the best experience, but you know what? I fucking learned a lot about myself.
good or
and like,
bad.
I've grown so much from that. And so I can thank you for that. Like, you served that purpose for me, like, in my life. You taught me that
that's
lesson.
the main thing I had to get over with the whole soulmate thing. That the big thing that I believed in my youth was forever.
Yes.
Getting rid of, and that's the biggest thing that I'm grappling with post divorce is the whole concept of time. It's what my band is like writing on right now because we're getting ready to go into pre-production for a new album, and all of the songs have to do with the concept of time in some way, in grappling with how fast it goes, how slow it goes, is it even real, like what all of that when you really sit down and think about it. And that was something I think that maybe a lot of people in their youth think that like a soulmate is a forever thing, and I love that concept of
Having multiple soulmates throughout your life.
Exactly. People coming in and out of your life and being grateful for the time that they are there.
Yeah.
And not like forcing something to go longer than it's supposed to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think I may be wrong about this, but maybe I may have had the most traditional view of like a soulmate, like what a soulmate is, because like I was such a pretty princess, like growing up,
was it Jesus?
I mean, well, yes, of course.
is your
I was
soulmate.
married to Jesus. I had a purity ring. I wore it on my wedding finger. I did. I was married to Jesus. I signed a piece of paper. I did.
It's with the Lord
It's
now.
with the Lord. I mean, I lost my purity ring. I always tell the story. I lost my purity ring. I lost my purity ring, doesn't it? I lost my purity ring in Paris. I always tell that to people because I was coming
where
back.
They all lose their purity
I was
ring
coming
from
back from Romania, and they make you take off all your. At the time when I was traveling, they made you take off all your jewelry to go through security, and so I took my rings off, and then. When I got through security, I was like all the way to the plane before I realized I didn't have my ring.
Did you lose
so
it?
I lost it.
Or did Jesus dump you?
Ooh.
Jesus, I mean, he ghosted me, I guess. Like, he was like, no.
It's not meant to be.
It's not meant to be.
It's not me, it's you.
It's
I mean, wait. It's not you, it's me.
He's like, I'm just going to take them out.
He's like, it's definitely not me. So, it's
I'm
definitely you. I'm the Lord. Okay. So...
I am the way, the truth, and the light.
And I'm going to take this ring back. Have fun in Paris.
God, it was a cute ring too. And then, oh my God, I really hope my mom's not listening. But then, like, low key, the ring box that I had was a little heart shape, and and then my next boyfriend used it to put weed in it. So.
That is the best.
So there's that. Okay, Mom, I really hope you're not listening.
Oh, man.
Please don't listen.
That sounds like something I would have done.
Oh man, that just made me really sweaty. There was so much packed into
Layers,
that. Layers.
But I mean, seriously, like I had this ever after mentality. I had this Cinderella mentality of like this Prince Charming mentality about soulmates, and also when you are raised with this belief that like you are saving yourself for marriage and you are waiting for like that one person, that like when I did lose my virginity to my ex-boyfriend, it didn't matter that he was wrong for me.
Putting weed in your purity ring box.
I just convinced myself that because like, okay, this is what is meant to be.
Right.
And I just need to like make this work because like I have made this commitment and like that's what you do. You know what I mean? And like and you know, so I had this very, very like warped view of like what I thought soulmates were.
Yeah.
And now I can honestly say that like that's just not how life works.
No.
It's just not how life works.
It turns out
It turns out I didn't know everything at 18. Like
That's
it turns
weird.
out I know shockingly. And yeah, so now I agree with everything that you guys are saying. I think that like I have found friends in my life who I could not see myself like living without, and like they're my soulmates, and I have found a partner that is a partner to me. And like it's not like a thing where
we're gonna be at your wedding.
I know.
You know, I just think I think you choose. I think you choose. I don't think it's something that happens to you. And I think growing up, I thought that it was a thing that happened to you.
That is such a good point. I felt the same way too. It's something that happened to you, not something that you had to actively like work at.
Make a decision about.
Yeah, it was just like your soulmate finds you. And it's like, no.
And there's only one, so God forbid anything happened to that one person, because Jesus.
Wasn't there like a movie or something where like that person's soulmate died or something, or?
Yeah, what do you do?
Like, what do you do? That's it. That was
you're just like, well,
you lost your chance.
Oh well, guess we have to die with each other, like the Notebook.
The movie City of Angels.
Oh, City of
Angels. And he like gives up being an angel.
Yeah,
so, like, dude, and then she fucking died.
Yes. He's like, yes. That movie had me like, ugly crying on my couch.
That movie is the movie where I have very complicated feelings about Nicolas Cage.
Yes,
right. You're like, I don't know if you're hot. I think you're kind of hot.
I think you're kind of hot right now, and I don't know how I feel about that.
It's a really good movie.
It actually
really
is a very good movie.
Sobbing.
Isn't there a song from that movie that's like super famous?
It's Uninvited by Alanis Morissette.
Well, there's a lot of songs.
Yeah,
on that
City of Angels soundtrack is so good.
You make me feel love.
But yeah, I'm fairly certain that you like anyone worthy. I am flattered by your
oh my God,
fascination with me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That was the Sarah McLachlan song, right?
Yes.
That's the one you're thinking of.
That's the one I'm thinking
Arms
of.
of an Angel? Is that it?
There is a Sarah McLachlan song. I don't know if it's that one, but there is one in that movie. That movie has a good soundtrack. Just like, it's a good 90s soundtrack.
I'm adding that to my list now. I have Ever After now and City of Angels.
I'm sorry. Can we just watch them both back to back?
Oh my
we'll
God.
Just be sobbing.
Girls' Night.
Girls' Night.
Yeah.
Crying.
Yeah, it was
popcorn,
Angel. And then
pizza.
Iris by Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Oh, I like that song.
Yeah.
Give up forever to touch you.
Yes.
God,
Oh my
what
God.
a great soundtrack, man.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Speaking of songs, I love the new Miley Cyrus song. I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
But
Sad news.
R.I.P. Miley and Liam.
Yeah. But I'm here for that breakup song. And I'm here for the lyrics of that breakup song.
They like just broke up. She had this one in the bag. She was like,
she was
I'm
ready
ready.
for it.
she's like, as soon as this breakup goes live, drop the bomb. Drop that fucking song.
So here it is.
Release that shit.
Sitting on.
I don't
Yeah.
like living by the ocean. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, it takes a minute to actually like record. Well, record.
Yeah.
What if she didn't
mix
tell Liam?
and master a song? They've been over for like a second.
What
and
if
I'm
they
like,
weren't
she
though? Like,
had
what if they were
to.
together and she did all of that and like didn't tell him, and then was like, "BT Dubs, we're broken up, and I'm releasing this song that I've been working on for 3
Fire.
months." Bye. That I've been working on for the majority of our marriage because we got married in December.
Yes, exactly. Honestly, it takes a long time.
Yeah. You know what? I hate saying this because I was here for the relationship. I want her to be happy. I want them both to be happy.
Yeah.
But they were on and off forever. And I think that
Yeah.
everybody was counting down.
Right.
And I hate saying that. That's
They're
shitty.
both so young.
They are. They're
They're
young.
yeah, they're Soup's
Yeah,
young.
we'll bounce
It's
back.
fine. Like whatever. Who cares?
We'll
Yeah,
bounce back.
I'm not
Take a
sad
note from
for
Brittany,
either of
don't
those
date one of your
super
dancers,
talented,
Miley.
rich,
Super
like,
talented, super beautiful, super fucking
Soup's
rich
beautiful.
people
Yeah.
are like you're
You'll
gonna be
be fine.
fine.
They'll
I'm
be
not
fine.
worried
They'll be
about
fine.
it.
They're
Like,
young. They're young.
who cares?
It's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to bounce back.
Yeah, it's all gonna be good.
Don't date one of your dancers.
Yeah, don't do that.
Just co-parent those animals, and
Yeah.
we're all good. You know, it's all good.
Oh my God, you guys, speaking of, I don't know why this made me think of it, that you said co-parent these animals. So I watched trailers like last night, or I texted you about the Little Women trailer.
That looks so good.
Oh my god, it looks.
Are we all
amazing.
gonna see that?
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Saoirse?
Oh my god.
Oh,
Abs-
my God. She was
Saoirse, Emma, fucking Meryl, fucking Timothy Chalamet,
so good.
Florence Pugh
God,
from
that was my favorite
from
fucking book.
Midsummer.
I love
Really?
that book.
Oh my
I
God.
loved that book when I was a kid.
My
But
heart is so full.
back to like trailers, the one that came up like after that one for whatever reason was The Art of Racing in the Rain.
No,
Oh, no.
they keep trying to sell us on that.
No.
Your boyfriend is in that.
Milo and
I'm
a
not
dog.
into
I was
it.
like,
no.
No.
I'm on it.
No.
I'm
You're gonna
on it
watch
like
it.
Blue Bonnet.
You're gonna watch it, but not because it's gonna be a good movie. It's because
No.
it's something for you to use your toy
I
to.
can-
You're
I
gonna.
can
It's
watch
fuel.
him and his fucking beautiful crooked mouth. His beautiful crooked mouth kind of half
Milo, if you
smirk
hear
words
this-
at me.
Just remember, this is the person who served you at a restaurant not to be named.
Oh my God. I keep going into like randomly, like I work by, my work's not far from Golden Apple, which is a really famous LA comic book store that I've gone into to buy like Sandman or like random books or whatever. It's a really cool family owned comic book shop, but he goes in there all the time too. And I'm like, one of these days I'm going to run into him casually
Accidents.
outside of work, and
No
it's
big
going to
deal.
it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be magic. I think he's dating somebody. I don't check. I do check.
You don't want to
But-
actively. No.
You're like, I've looked. Okay,
I've looked, but
Do you know what I've done recently?
So
do, you know,
cash.
do you know what I've done?
Soups cash.
I've recently Googled the age of Timothy Chalamet. That's what I've done
Because
recently.
he's like 12.
because I want to know that I'm not like so weird,
Such a
like
perv.
so gross about it. I do that with the what are the kids?
Do you guys peep personal shit about celebs that you think are kind of hot?
Yeah, I'm like
of
maybe
course.
low key. If I run into you, could this work? Like,
Right.
I gotta know stats.
I gotta know
Facts.
stats. Are you,
What are you into?
brown girls? Like, I need to know. These
I
are
need
the
to know
things
this
I
now.
need to know.
Yeah.
What are you into? Yeah, because I also did the same thing with what are those? The Sprouse twins. Because I was just like,
Oh, honey.
they look
Oh,
so
honey.
young, but they're not that young. They're like, I'm okay. Look, they're not that young. I'm 29. They're like 27. I'm like, it's
No,
fine.
that's appropriate.
It's appropriate.
Yeah, it's totally workable.
It's workable. I
Yeah.
could make it work.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Both of them.
Either or. I'm not picky. Listen,
I like you or your brother.
whichever. It's fine. I don't
fine.
care. The The one that's on Riverdale's the hotter one, but like it's okay.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Who's your celeb? Do you kind of cyber stalk a celeb?
I gotta think about that. I mean, for sure I have. Army Hammer there for a second.
Oh, geez.
Because for some reason,
Hot.
somewhere I was given the note
British
that
accent.
he's in,
Tall.
and he's like into BDSM.
Ugh.
And so like that like fucking triggered me hard, and I was like, well, I gotta find
Well,
out
you're like,
more
now
about
I'm
this
down
shit.
a full day
And
rabbit
his
hole.
fucking like wife is so hot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, and then I imagine her like trustled. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me?
What's
Nothing's wrong with you. You're
Nothing
normal.
at all.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I've looked up.
fine.
I've looked up. I've had lots of free time in the past year and a half. So
Trustled even a word? Trust.
I knew
think.
exactly what you
know.
meant. It's fine.
Yeah. I've looked up Tom Hardy
Oh,
a number of
fucking
times.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, we're clearly already.
Honestly, you
Yeah,
should just
a
make
thing.
that a wallpaper.
Yeah, I've looked up my dude Matthew Good. I've watched
your dude.
many.
You look
He's
at
in
my
a
dude.
movie coming up soon.
Yeah.
He's in a new
He's in
movie.
plenty
Yeah.
of stuff. Yeah, exactly. And I just like watch him. I watch press junkets of him just talking. And I'm
Have
like,
you seen Stoker yet?
No, and
Oh
I
my
want
fucking
to.
god! I
Is
mean,
it?
yeah, and he's creepy in that.
Oh, I
But it's
love
like
a
hot-
creepy, hot creepy.
It's real hot creepy.
Amy's nodding right
Yes,
now. I'm in it.
It's
about to lose
fucking
her shit over
weird.
there.
It's, yeah, her head's about to
might fall off
bobble
She's
off.
very
of her shoulders.
blushy. I like when Amy gets really. She's
is
bright
blushing.
red. I'm watching this movie.
Because it's weird. Because like you should not think he's hot because he's so fucking like creepy. But you're also like, but you're real hot though.
He's so hot.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Mhm.
There are
Watch
some
it.
people that, and that's the thing. That's how I feel about Milo. There are some
Yeah.
people when you see them in real life, there's something about them where they're too hot.
Yeah.
You can't make eye contact with them. And that's how I feel about Matthew Good. If I ever saw him in real life,
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Well, I mean, like I think that's like it's an it factor, and it's weird because I was having this conversation with Anthony where we were watching Sunshine, which is a good movie, and both a young Chris Evans and a young Cillian Murphy are in Sunshine. And I told him, and he seemed very surprised by the fact that I was like, I would take a young Cillian Murphy over a young Chris Evans. And I'm like, why? Because like, you know, Chris Evans is more
Chris Evans-
traditionally attractive.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think Cillian Murphy is like hot, like weird.
I don't
Absolutely.
like traditional, like good looking. I'm not into the Chris Evans.
I would
Exactly.
rather have a
Same,
skinny guy with high
same.
cheekbones.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Give me tall, high cheekbones,
Somewhat
little
awkward.
weird looking, somewhat awkward, British accent.
Hey,
Hey,
Well,
hey,
Cillian Murphy,
hey,
I think,
hey.
is Irish, which is
Oh,
like
even
Even
fucking
right,
better.
Come on.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my God. There's a reason why I watch Outlander, and it wasn't the writing or the acting.
That's exactly
So-
right. You're just fucking looking at your wristwatch until those sex scenes came up. You're
Exactly.
like, tick tock, bitch.
Flip flop, bitch. Let's do it. Yeah, no. Ooh.
So I
Sorry.
guess we should maybe say that this is my worst date podcast.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie.
I'm Christina.
Hi.
It doesn't matter who goes first. I
You always go last. I know. I know.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't mind
Do you
at
want
all.
me to do it?
No.
Well, I mean,
just
usually
think
you go
it's-
first, I go second, and Christina goes
Oh, yeah.
third. But we just switched it up today.
Yeah.
And
It's
if
weird
it were
fun in
left
there.
to my own devices, we would
Just
never
wouldn't
be
happen.
introduced.
Yeah.
It just never crosses my mind.
I like keeping our listeners on their toes.
Yeah, what's gonna happen?
When that intro's
we
coming.
get new listeners every week, and they may not necessarily know our voices yet, so now they can tell us apart.
I do
I
like
still
that.
feel like sometimes people cannot tell us.
But I don't understand that at all because I think we sound so distinctly different.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
we
I sound nasal as
so
hell.
different
because
like,
I can't breathe.
I sound like I've been living in California all my life, which
Yep.
is not the case.
And I've been smoking a pack a day and doing phone sex in my off time. So
Oh, well, there you go.
there
Guys
you
got
go.
it now.
Great.
Is that a voice? Like,
We-
is there a voice?
There is
well,
a
there
voice
is
for that.
now.
Do we have a fuck, marry, kill?
Oh my gosh.
Amy, do you have any suggestions?
Yeah. Guest honor.
Sorry, I'm
she's
sorry.
like, no. She's like, no, I wasn't put here to work. I'm just hanging out.
Well, okay, hold on. We could do Cillian Murphy, Matthew Good.
We've done Matthew Good.
Have
and,
we?
and
When did
I'm
we do
going to
Matthew
fuck,
Good?
marry, and
Yeah.
kill him.
We did.
Oh my God. Have we done him more than once? Probably.
God, I don't
just like,
know.
I love
We're gonna
him.
run out of fucking.
Wait,
I love
do we
him.
have like
I love
period
him.
film stars, like people who are like famously period, like Colin Firth or not Colin? Yeah, Colin.
Oh yeah. He's in a version of Sense and Sensibility. I
he's
think.
in like so much shit, right?
Yeah, he's a period
Tom
piece.
Hardy was in.
Oh God.
We've done Tom Hardy.
Yeah, we have.
And I will also fuck, marry, and kill.
Oh my gosh. What are we gonna do? You know, we should fuck, marry, kill our I will not be able to make words around you person.
Oy vey.
If I ever ran into you in the street, I would not be able to make words around you.
Well,
and it
I
doesn't
mean-
have to be like I'm so attracted to you, because mine would be Thom Yorke.
Yeah.
If I ran into him in the street, I would not.
yeah, 'cause you
words
just
words
respect
wouldn't come out.
him and
I'd be like,
yeah.
I like music.
You make
Cool.
that.
You.
You're like
And
that.
then I'd, like, fall.
You're like that old SNL sketch. You remember when you guys wrote that?
Exactly.
song?
I'd be like Chris Farley. Stupid. You remember when you were in the Beatles?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, because I'm
somebody
so
you
fucking
respect.
awkward around celebrities, period. That's me around everyone.
No,
that
but
was me
they're-
around Bill Nye. I was like, I can't talk to anybody.
I am
There's
too. I'm the same way
one
about
that's
everybody.
like literally your heart would explode if you met them in real life. This is a fucking idol for you. This is somebody that's either
Oh my
super
God.
fucking
I'm
attractive
so
or
mad
super
about
like
mine
crazy.
because you're gonna be
Oh,
mad.
do it.
I think it's Tom Cruise.
No, that's fine. That's your
So
your
Tom
person.
and Tom, cool.
Tom and Tom. Thumb.
Because the other person that I was thinking of was actually dude from Moulin Rouge. What's his name?
Ewan
Ewan
McGregor.
McGregor.
Interesting.
We haven't done him.
But Tom Cruise is really the one. I was just trying to
Okay,
mix it up.
there you go. No, Tom Cruise is the one. Tom Cruise is the one.
Okay.
Thom Yorke.
Thom Yorke.
God,
Exactly.
You know, I don't know. The one that keeps popping into my mind, and you know what? It's not even like, don't come after me, because I
Please, I said Tom
love
Cruise.
and no, I love and respect her so much. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking
Oh.
to the universe.
Got it.
I love and respect her so much, but like, she's not like my one and only. So I don't know why she's the one who keeps popping into my brain.
Yeah.
But it would be Beyonce.
Of course, I knew you were going to go there.
Like if I
God.
met Beyonce, I don't think I'd be able to like form sentences. Like I would just be like, you radiate so pretty. Like I don't know, so talented.
you wouldn't be able to
my
say any of those
God.
things. You'd fall
No,
over.
I would faint, I think. So and like, yeah, because I don't know, she's not like my number one artist that I listen to all the time or anything like that. There's just something she radiates, like something that I feel like she's got her own atmosphere.
Yeah.
That it would
Yeah.
freak me out if I ever
She
was
got Big
face to
Bay
face.
energy.
Yeah. She literally
I
glows.
fucking love Beyonce so much.
Yeah.
I love her. I'm in love with her.
So there you go. That's
Ooh,
a hard
that's-
fuck, marry, kill, guys.
It is a really fucking
Thom
hard.
Yorke, Beyonce, and Tom Cruise. I'm gonna pee my pants. It's literally the most random. How the fuck are we gonna figure this out?
Yeah, they're very different.
They're very different. That's not
wild.
apples and oranges.
Yeah.
This is
I know-
apples and Saint Bernards.
Oh, no, shit.
This is like crazy.
I thought I knew what I would do.
Well,
and then-
I think I know what I'd do.
okay, you go first then, because
Okay.
you know.
I'm going to marry Tom Cruise because
I know
God
you
damn
are.
it,
I know you are.
I have to.
Yeah. How are you going to talk to him?
I don't
How
know.
can any marriage stand if you, anytime you're in a room with him, you're like,
Xanax.
You're gonna have to learn American Sign Language.
I do know some ASL.
make it through that relationship.
write down.
Xanax.
You so handsome.
Pretty. And I spell it wrong because I'm nervous.
Pretty.
The R is backwards. Okay, so you're marrying Tom.
Marrying Tom. I'm
Cruise.
going to fuck Thom.
Thumb.
Yeah,
Oh.
'cause I know. That's why I
The
can't
hive
believe
is
you did that to me.
coming for you.
I know.
The
Oh
last
shit.
Can we friend? Can we friend on this one? I don't want
Oh my gosh, no, we're all gonna make tough choices because this one's
Just
pretty
remember-
impossible.
Remember that you did this to us.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Tom Yorke is right fucking up there for me though, because he is inspirational. There is like, honestly, I feel like Radiohead to me, even Tom Yorke separately,
Yeah,
top to bottom, there is not a goddamn thing that they do that I'm not like. I'm like, do they do anything wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime anything comes on by them, I'm like, can they do anything wrong? Can they fucking do anything wrong? Because I fucking live for it.
Here's the thing about Thom Yorke is that like I want to marry him, but it is not a good idea because I feel like from the interviews that I've seen, here's the reason why
He's
I'm
gonna
in
burst
love
that
with
bubble
him.
for you.
He is because he seems like an enormous piece of shit in person.
No, I bet he is. I bet he is. And you should honestly
He
just kill him to like avoid
really
ever
does.
having to know that.
He really does. I hate that because I love Radiohead. It has been the most inspirational thing for me.
Same.
I love his writing, and he is exactly the type of person that young Christina loved. Will somebody come along and mansplain things to me and like kind of treat me like shit and treat me like I don't know anything?
You know, like,
and
this is perfect for you.
yeah, I'm
You
like,
love a red flag.
I do. I used to wave them. I had them like, all over the place.
You were
But-
basically like one of those like air traffic controllers on the ground.
Yes,
You were, like,
I was
right
like-
here.
I was like the big like things.
Inflatable
on the
waving arm
inflatable.
man.
I was like, woo. But no, like I feel like
New Christina has
new
grown.
Christina is like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill.
You're gonna kill your
Tom,
your
You're
hero.
letting Tom Cruise live.
I'm letting
honest.
Tom Cruise
Look
live
how hopeful
So
Cassie
I'm
is that
either
Tom Cruise
fuck-
is being allowed to live.
or marry. I'm gonna marry Beyonce.
Yeah.
Why?
That's a fucking queen,
Yeah.
and I stan a queen
That
all
is
day.
wise.
Yeah.
She is a badass bitch. I fucking love Beyonce.
Yes.
I love her. I'm
She does
in
no
love
wrong.
with her.
I just want to say that once again, as Cassie, who just killed her.
Please don't
mean
come
it, I
for
love
you.
Yes. You know what? I'm gonna do it doggy style.
Wow.
You
I'm
don't
gonna
wanna-
fuck-
you don't
I'm
want
gonna
to
fuck
look
Tom
at his
Cruise.
off-center teeth while you
Oh,
do it?
No,
Wow.
it's.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
I'm so
so
sorry.
sorry, Cassie.
No, here's the thing.
She looks like she wants to
could
kill me.
It's honestly only recently.
height.
There's no, the height doesn't bother me as much as so much as the work on his face lately, because he is an attractive man, or he. Cassie's gonna kill me.
I hate
Don't want
I
to
don't like
say
this
it at
game.
all. Like,
I don't like this game.
I'm gonna
wanna quit.
I'm gonna fuck Tom Cruise. You know what? I'd actually.
I think
probably
you can do
put
it
him-
face to face. I've heard he's very nice.
I put him on the.
He's
You
very
know what I
nice.
do with
That's what I've
him?
heard.
He is like
Heard he's very nice.
I have to.
he is the perfect height, and I know this now from Tinder experience. I've got perfect sex experience for different height men. So Tom Cruise is the height for me that you sit him on the couch,
Okay.
and then you straddle him,
Yes.
and you grab the back of the
Oh,
couch
yes,
and you
ma'am.
grind into him.
Yeah.
Because he's
I
like
love being on top.
4 or 5 inches shorter than me, and so that really hits the
Yeah.
spot.
That's
So,
Oh,
but
probably pretty big.
we do not have the dick. Amy is right to point out we don't know how big his dick is,
I feel
which
like it's
does
I feel like
factor
he-
in.
I feel
It is
like
part of the equation.
It's probably Tom Cruise gives me big dick energy.
Yeah.
I feel like
Oh.
there's a situation happening there.
yeah.
If it was
Yeah.
good enough for Nicole Kidman, I'm just
Okay.
saying.
See,
You know what
and
I
I
mean?
bet you Nicole
you. And
straddled
Nicole-
him on the couch.
And she's tall as shit.
She's like, God damn it, that was
She-
my favorite position.
She is tall as fuck. I hope she's listening to this and she's like, spot on. Amazing.
She's
Nicole,
like, how
write
did
us.
you know? Oh my God, we need to at Nicole Kidman and be like, listen, was this the position
Give us
that was
the
the most
tea.
satisfying? Because I feel like I could release
As
a
a tall girl.
scientific study
As a
as
tall
a tall girl.
Okay,
This
okay.
is where 5'5" to 5'6.5" lends us.
lives. You live here.
You live here.
On the couch is where you live.
Honestly, it could be in a bed laying down, and as long as you're on top.
No. It's different. It's fucking different. It's different. On the bed and laying down, you're in like 5'7", 5'8" land. It's different.
okay.
It's different.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, you're right.
I'll
because Chris
make
is
a chart. I'll make a chart and we can post it.
Chris
on
is like
Insta.
5'8", so I think you're right. 'cause-
Yes. You lay a 5'8" guy down.
Okay.
And then you ride him.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way you just said okay. Okay.
Okay.
6 foot is when you start doing like shit against the wall.
Yeah, it is. God damn it. Your legs wraps around
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about if Chris is listening.
I was about to give some 2 cents, but I will withhold.
Oh yeah, you dated super super tall. you got to do some fun stuff.
No
I did.
comment.
Bitch, you ain't got to comment.
any of that.
We know.
But okay. I am
Fuck, marry,
going
kill.
to marry Beyonce,
Duh.
Yep.
marry Queen Bey.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to fuck Thom Yorke.
Of course.
But you know what? There is part of me that feels like Tom Cruise would be more fun. Like, I feel like he would be more fun because I do
In
feel
bed?
like Tom,
Mhm.
yeah, because I do feel like Thom Yorke would kind of be like he's doing you a favor.
Like, oh
that's
my
kind
god,
of,
great. Kind of like what's his name? Leo.
Yeah.
Like he might vape.
He
Yeah,
totally, he would,
yeah.
he would have like earbuds
Headphones.
in.
He's listening
Headphones.
to Radiohead while he's fucking you.
He's like, we're working on this track right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. So, just so you know, Cassie, this was a difficult choice for me because I do think
Just
that
enjoy that. Just
Tom
remember,
Cruise is, think about that
Wow.
when he's fucking you in
about
this
that.
theoretical situation.
enjoy.
Yeah.
So
because you're forced to it.
I'm forced to do it now. I'm locked in. But yeah, I don't know. Like something about Tom Cruise, like he's got a weird
You don't have to
hypnotic energy that like I don't know that I want to get involved in on a person to person level. But I have heard he's very, very nice in life. So there's that. But yeah, I think I'm going to kill Tom Cruise, fuck Thom Yorke, and marry Beyonce.
That's a
She
rough
just
one.
sing me to sleep.
Here's the thing
hard
about
one.
Tom Cruise in bed because he is kind of short. I feel like you got something to prove.
I feel like I'm okay with him being short. I'm not tall.
I've been with short guys.
I'm okay
and
with
they
it.
do. They work V hard. V hard.
Yeah.
For sure. Especially for a tall girl like
Yep.
me. They really put in the extra effort. And, I give out gold stars. I'm all for it.
Look, and I'm short. I'm 5'4". Like to me, honestly,
Yeah,
like
same.
it wouldn't be like. I mean, I'd be fine with it. I
Yeah.
think it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I like that we all have different answers.
Wow,
That's great.
that was wild. What a wild ride, guys.
I know. Well, let's take 5 and then we'll come back with stories.
Yes. And we're back.
And we're back.
Okay. Oh, you bitch. I swear to God. I swear to God. Honestly, there was like a visceral reaction.
I know.
And my face got hot for a second.
I'm gonna find this mic. I'm nervous.
Listen,
She looked at me hard.
at-
I can't look at you in the eyes right now.
At some point, the back of my hand is just going to fly, Cassie. It's just going to fly across this table. I'm sorry. I don't abuse my co-podcasters here.
me when you're not.
Shut the fuck up. Okay, so I've got
catch these hands.
catch these hands.
Queen catch the hands in the house.
I know. That's one of my favorite sayings
Amy
of all
is
time.
queen hand catcher.
Yeah.
Thrower. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
She don't catch no hands.
You
Yeah.
catch no
Throws
hands. So I have the first story this week, and this was an email that we got, and it says, "Hello, Keegan, Christina, and Cassie!" Exclamation point.
Yay!
My name is Patty, and this is my worst date story. Before I start, I just wanted to say I love your podcast with all my heart. You guys are so much fun. Sweet.
Right back at you.
The first thing you should know about me is that I'm from Brazil and moved to the U.S. 7 months ago to get married to the love of my life, who, of course, is not the person I went on this date with.
Oh, good.
It's a long story, so feel free to edit it all. So here we go. This happened when I had just turned 18. I had just broken up with my high school boyfriend of 2 years, and I was feeling all that power and sensuality that young women feel after breaking up with the boyfriend they lost their virginity with.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
She says, if you've ever went through that,
Yeah.
you know the feeling I'm talking about. Yes, I understand completely. Okay.
I'm hearing that Beyonce song in my head right now, actually.
To the left. Or which
Yes.
one?
Oh, my God. So
Everything
many.
you want. Okay, so one day I had to go to the bank to solve a problem with my bank account, and I had to talk to the manager, Dan, who was this really cute guy. He looked like he was in his late 20s, very nice. I had to send him an email with a document, and a day later he answered my email saying that it was great meeting me and all of that kind of stuff. So I answered that email, and after that we just kept exchanging emails and text messages, and then he invited me on a date. Pause.
Yeah.
Unprofesh.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
That's unprofessional.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you emailed him in a professional capacity,
Right.
and he took advantage of your personal email address and
Yeah.
started sending you personal emails.
I feel like
I don't
that is not FDIC insured.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No.
We went on 2 dates and both were super nice. First one, we walked around the beach having some acai. My city back home has a beach. And that's when I figured out that he was actually 32 and had a daughter, which was fine with me. 18 and 32. Okay. I mean, if everyone's consenting.
Yeah.
All right. Second, that face, your lips are it's
They're
a straight
gone.
line.
Your
Yeah,
lips are
yeah.
gone, actually.
I feel it coming off of you. It's radiating.
And there's a lot here so far.
A lot to unpack. Second, we went to dinner at an Italian restaurant, which was also very pleasant. He was very nice. And that's when he mentioned that he knew how to make great pasta and said that I should come over to his place the next Saturday afternoon and he would cook for me.
Okay.
SpaghettiOs.
Chef Boyardee. I agreed, and on that Saturday, he picked me up. We stopped at the grocery store to get a few remaining ingredients, and we proceeded to his apartment. When we were on the elevator going up, he told me there was a friend of his sister's that was from out of town, and she was staying at his apartment for a few days, but that she probably wouldn't be there because she was usually out all day. You're in the elevator going up and he decides to give you this information?
Coach, chill.
Yeah,
sir.
Exactly. Exactly. It's
We've
like
got Amy
dude-
behind us doing
dude-
the
dude face.
hole in finger in hole situation.
Dude face
back
that
here.
had a female roommate. I'm like,
Suspicious.
Yeah.
Highly suspicious. We get to his apartment and the girl is there. She looked a bit confused, but he casually introduced us. Her name was Eduarda, and she went back to the room and came back with her bag and said she was leaving. I don't know why, but I had a feeling she seemed very confused. So he made us food. It's great. We're hanging out, and then his phone starts ringing nonstop. He said it was his friends inviting him out, but he wanted to give me his full attention, so he turns his phone off. I thought it was a little odd, but we proceeded with our day, started making out and fooling around.
Drink,
Don't
red flag,
I know,
drink.
red flag.
Don't turn a phone off on a pissed off woman.
Oh, I
Just
know.
left your place because listen,
She'll burn that
Okay.
place to the ground.
if I have something to say, it's gonna get said.
Yeah.
And you're gonna hear it.
One way or
the
another.
other.
Do you want my phone call or do you want my presence? So
I will show the fuck up.
I
I
will.
don't care that you're
I
on
will.
a date.
I will show the fuck up. You know, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna leave right now. But I'm gonna call you and we're gonna talk about this. And if you fucking ignore me,
That's exactly right. The first time I was asking you.
Yeah.
The second time, I'm going to lay your ass out. Like,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yes.
I mean, and also all of this, like, honestly, you just said, like, drink for a red flag.
Yeah.
This entire thing has been a red
Yeah.
flag.
Oh, I
because
know.
Yeah.
The entire thing just rings of, like, trying to take advantage of an 18-year-old.
Correct.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what
Correct.
I'm
It's
seeing
power
here.
thing.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So around 7 p.m., someone knocks violently at his door. It's a man screaming his name.
Oh, okay.
I was
Oh.
scared and asked him what was going on, and all he said was, "I'm so sorry," before opening the door. When he opens it, standing there is his friend's sister's friend, crying, and this very angry man in his 20s. He starts screaming at Dan and then screaming at me and calling me all kinds of names like slut, asking if we had no shame. I ask what's going on, and the guy says he's Eduarda's brother and that she came home crying, saying that Dan brought a girl home. I still didn't know what was going on. He notices I'm extremely confused and scared, and so her brother tells me that she was his girlfriend and lived with him at that apartment.
the fucking
He brought-
Chef Boyardee's nuts
The
on this
boys
motherfucker.
on Brad.
The
That's
balls.
like, I live with the chick. You
It's
know
fine.
what?
I'm gonna
It's
bring you
fine.
home, and I'm gonna casually introduce you.
The balls on Brad.
Honestly.
Wow.
And she went and got her brother, which you know that shit. Like, Amy has a question. I'm sorry, Amy. Look,
That is a good question. Why
she
did
felt
she
like
leave?
she needed to go get reinforcements, I guess. Like, she went and got her brother, to beat his ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
She's like, maybe
I would-
she's like, I
see,
can't
here's
hurt
me.
him physically the way that I want him to hurt physically.
Yeah. I'm
So
going to
I'm
go get
gonna
some
get
muscle.
somebody
I'm
that
Amy
can.
on this one. I'm with Amy on this one. I ain't leaving my goddamn house, motherfucker. I'm
Yeah.
not leaving my motherfucking house.
Well,
Who
okay,
the
but
fuck
hold
are
on.
you?
But hold on.
Who is you?
He's 32. He's seeking out an 18-year-old. How old is the girlfriend? Because I could see younger me being like so confused and insecure and hurt that I would just leave. and then be like, I'm going to figure this out
That
later.
is so fucked up. I've
Wow.
never heard anything like this before in my
Wow.
fucking life. The audacity. The fucking audacity.
I know. Like, you didn't even check to make sure your girl was out of town. Like, you just
He
brought her
gave
home.
No
fucks.
bucks. In
No
fact, he
fucks.
was like, she may be here.
All right. I'll see. Sorry, Amy is, if you can't hear that, Amy is asking if he got his ass beat. So let's
Yeah.
find out. She says, I'm petrified. The guy doesn't even try to explain himself to me, just keeps repeating, I'm sorry. I apologize to the girl and tell her I had no idea he had a girlfriend and what he told me of who she was. The fight keeps going. I keep apologizing, grab my stuff, and leave. No one seems to care that I'm out of there. Got a cab and went home and asked what the fuck I just put myself through.
Oh my
Yikes.
God.
The guy proceeded to call and text me for the next few days, and I ignored it. He sent me an email apologizing and telling some insane story that, of course, was a lie. His girlfriend got my number and proceeded to call me and text me all kinds of names, so I had to block her number.
Wow.
Never answered, never went back to that
What?
bank location, never talked to him or her again. And this was, without a doubt, my worst date. Hope you guys enjoyed this.
That
Cheers.
is-
So,
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it kind of doesn't sound like he got his ass beat because he kept trying to go after her.
No, I don't like any of that
So,
shit.
I mean, it doesn't seem like he got his or learned his lesson at all.
he didn't
This
have
poor
my
girl,
brother.
though, she had this
No.
fucking confidence that you have, like, as a newly single girl, 18. She had this fucking confidence, and this is the fucking asshole that she went on a
Damn.
date with. Like, that
Yep.
sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Oof.
Ugh.
Thank you so much for writing in your
Yes.
story. Wow.
Yikes on bikes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go next.
Okay. Sure.
All right. So ours was from an email we got, and it says this is actually an awkward ex encounter, not necessarily a
Oh,
bad date.
I want more of those.
Yeah.
My
Can I have more of those,
God.
please? Amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes.
Okay, so the awkward ex encounter. We need a fun phrase for some for that, like, shame receipt. Ooh, we do.
An ex
Oh.
encounter.
Ooh.
Is there like an
X-Files?
X-File?
Oh, it's an X file.
Do you have any X-Files?
Guys,
Oh
your
my
brains are
God.
attached.
Dude.
That was amazing.
Dude,
Dude,
that
does happen actually in long-term relationships, since that your brain does actually connect
melded.
like that, and then you outsource things that the other brain is better at than you.
Whoa.
So like if Cassie was better at directions than I am, which you are, exactly, my brain would start to outsource that kind
You know
of thing,
what?
that kind of task to you.
I think about that sometimes, and this kind of goes with our conversation of soulmates, and like not to get too deep and sad. And I also know Anthony listens to this podcast, but
I was just
sometimes
thinking Chris and I,
sometimes I think about like what would happen if like anything ever happened to him, and I'm like, I think about the dumb shit.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, is I think about the dumb shit that like he does.
That's
that I
that's,
don't do.
that's the stuff that gets you on like
Yeah.
a Wednesday night at like
Yes.
8:42.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Approximately.
It's the dumb
he's
shit.
he's so much better at
Not that I
like
know.
you know, cleaning the carpet than I, you know, like just dumb little shit like that.
Yeah.
So like,
you're like, our carpet will never be.
it will never be as clean because that is what happens. It's like you figure out what each other are good at,
true.
and then you let them take the lead on that thing.
Yeah.
Chris and
Yeah.
I at Trivial Pursuit, anybody can tell you that's ever played with us. If you play teams, Chris and I make a dynamo team because everything that he knows really well, like sports and, you know, some science things, some history things, he gets and he's super good at. Me, I'm the places, geography, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Math things, like we are like the dynamic
halves.
duo
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it comes to
Yeah.
shit like that. Yeah. All right.
So X-Files, I like that.
The
I like that.
X-Files.
Very good.
All right. So, this happened this past March. We met on Bumble in November and saw each other for about 4 months before things ended somewhat abruptly. There was a hoodie I had lent her that she took home to her parents' house for a few hours away.
Oh my God. Is there
I
anything
love-
more awkward than later
Yep.
having to be like, can I have that thing back, please?
But no, you can't, because there's nothing better than a stolen hoodie.
There's
Oh,
nothing.
God.
It's like free
Amen.
food.
And
It's
it's a
like
hoodie.
free food tastes better. A stolen hoodie,
Hoodie
feels
better.
Yeah, and I'm
it's comfier.
sorry, men. If there is something that your girlfriend or ex-girlfriend has commandeered, that's hers now.
Yeah.
It's mine now.
mine.
That's hers now. That hoodie is hers. Sorry, you lost it.
It's mine now. Anyway, so it was at our parents' house, a few hours away from when things ended. It was still at her parents' house. It was my only black hoodie. Buy a fucking new black hoodie.
You need to buy a new black hoodie. Go to the Gap. Go to Old Navy.
But I just wrote it off and figured I'd never see it again.
Yeah, that's right. That's the appropriate response.
Yeah, exactly. You are correct, sir.
About a month after we stopped seeing each other, I get a text from her that she found it and that she could drop it off to me whenever. Why she didn't want to just leave it in a bag on her porch for me to pick up, I don't know. I suspected it was because she wanted to get a chance to talk with me about things, but I was never able to confirm that suspicion. On a Sunday afternoon, I tell her I'll be home all day and she can drop it off whenever. She responds that she's busy at the moment, but she'll let me know when she's coming by. At 9 p.m., I get a text that she's on her way from her house, which is about 15-minute drive. At about 9:40, I'm sitting there wondering what the deal is when my phone rings and I see it's her. I pick up and she tells me she's been in a car accident at the intersection about a minute away from my house.
Oh no.
I drive down there and see the crash. It was between her and another car. Her car is in bad enough shape that they have to tow it away. So after she talks to the police and they tow away her car, we're both just left standing there, not really sure what to say.
I'm just like, you see the hoodie in the passenger seat. You're like,
wait,
would you mind if could I just get that really quickly? That's all I'm here for.
It's cool.
I'm glad she's okay, but if I could just
squeeze,
hop in there and just
1 second. Oh, is the store can't get it? Okay. Other side? No. Cool. She hands me the hoodie. Oh,
this story has a happy ending.
I like it.
him and his hoodie are reunited. It's amazing.
Reunited and it feels so good.
She hands me my hoodie and says she can call one of her roommates to pick her up, but I tell her I'll take her home. The ride there was as uncomfortable and silent as you would expect. And in the coming days, we talked a bit as I wanted to check up on how she was doing. We left things on better terms than before, but it was still weird, as you might expect. We haven't really talked since that incident, but I got my only black hoodie back, so I see that as a win.
You know what? I have to say, like, awkward for him, way more awkward for her. She got in a car accident.
Right?
Yes.
On the way to see her ex-boyfriend. Like, is there anything worse?
Oh my
like,
God.
He says, I also just want to take a minute to tell you guys how much I enjoyed the Frito Feet episode. You guys really brought my stories to life with your commentary. It was hilarious.
Honey.
I shared it with my friends and some of them are regular listeners now. So you may be able to expect some stories from them in the future.
Oh my God,
I
please.
hope so.
Oh
Please,
my
more
God.
X-Files,
Frito
please.
Feet.
X-Files.
More X-Files.
More Frito Feet.
More Frito Feet.
Always
I love
room
it.
for more Frito Feet. My fucking God, that was hilarious. Okay. So this one I got from Reddit. She says, so I got home from a lovely afternoon date a few hours ago, and I feel awful yet I can't stop snickering about it in the privacy of my room. Don't worry, no sexcapades in this fuck up. I can hear out of one ear, and usually I tell people I can't hear from that side, and if they see me just nodding and smiling, I did not hear them. I'm just tired after years of saying, excuse me? Huh? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
What?
However, this was first date and that conversation didn't come up.
Oh no.
There's a newish food cart that I recommended we go to since it had a bar and tons of outdoor seating. We each get a plate of food and grab a spot to chat and eat. We sat on the same side of the bench, straddling it and facing each other.
Oh, I like that.
This
I like the straddle
proximity-
face each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. This proximity is important later.
Uh-oh.
He dared me to try and toss a piece of my chicken into his mouth, and he impressively caught it between his teeth with a wink. Your girl right here is easily impressed, and I was feeling this dude.
Same.
I'm like,
You're
you
like a
can do that.
dolphin.
I
It's
can't do that.
amazing.
You dolphin. So, and of course, here comes the fuck up. I pulled out my phone to show him some pictures of a hike I recently went on.
Uh-oh.
And I kind of heard him say something. So I looked up nodding and smiling, as I always do.
Oh, no.
Next thing I know,
Oh, no.
a piece of chicken hits me in the nose, and I see his eyes go wide like he's thinking he's going to have to make a post later, but too bad, sucker. My post is way worse. My reaction to having fried chicken thrown at my face is to throw my arms out wildly in front of me, and I feel my new giant-ass iPhone smack him in the face.
Oh, no.
Now my face has a look of horror as he reaches for his face, blood streaming out of his nose.
No, she broke his face.
With
I'm
her
just
phone.
blabbering. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are you bleeding? Oh my God, of course you are. I'm so sorry. Let me get you some napkins. In one breath, nearly tripping, trying to get my leg out from under the table.
Soul sister, that would be me. I'm like, you're like a tangle of legs and feet.
Oh, no.
After we get him cleaned up and to the car to sit down, he said, if I wasn't ready for the chicken, I could have just said. I was confused and said, you never asked, hence the surprised reaction. Apparently he had, and when he asked if I was ready, I smiled and nodded.
Oh, no.
So he tossed the chicken up and at my not at all ready mouth.
Oh, no.
I explained my hearing situation and he just stared and shook his head. He texted me an hour ago saying he's pretty sure his nose is broken. He seemed chill about it, but I don't think that there will be a second
I
take.
don't think he's chill about it. You broke his nose.
She's like, ah! Phone at face.
Wow.
Just things that are important to let people know on a first date.
Yep.
We're going to add that to the list.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't hear out of one ear.
I can't hear out
If
of
I
one
just
ear.
wave or if I just nod like I don't know what I just said, I probably didn't.
Yeah.
All right, does anyone need a refill of wine before we get into the story?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
So I want to give just like a mini trigger warning. When I was writing this story out, I was like, okay, there are some moments in here that are pretty like heavy. So I'm just going to put that out there right now.
What are the trigger warnings? Which we were
There is a little bit of violence against children.
okay.
There's a little bit of violence against animals.
Ooh.
So I want you guys to know that going in here. I got most of this information off of a show that I used to watch the shit out of on YouTube when I was going through my like real hard serial killer phase.
Yeah.
Born to Kill. So good.
Good one.
It's so good.
Yes.
And yohistory.org
Okay.
is where I got most of this information. And I was really inspired by Cassi doing Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh.
Really inspired me to do this story, and you guys have probably heard of it.
This
Because
is why you texted Christina.
yeah,
and
I
were
was
what
like,
were you doing?
I know, because I was inspired by your story, and so I was like, Christina may have been as well, so I wanted to like make sure.
I was, and I did end up looking at a whole bunch of different like historical weird shit, but I didn't go there. I didn't
This
have a lot of
one
time
is
this week, so I went on the
basically-
one on my list already.
This one is basically a Bonnie and Clyde in the 50s. So
Ooh.
Okay.
we are
Little
going
later.
to talk about Charles Starkweather and Caril Fugate.
Yep.
Ah.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Talk about it.
So Charles Starkweather was born in Lincoln, Nebraska on November 24th, 1938. He was born to a lower working class family. He had like a shit ton of brothers and sisters. I think he had a bunch of brothers and like one sister. And I heard it described as like, even though his family was very loving, I think his dad had some issues that caused him to not work. So his mom had to work a lot. And even though this sounds really bad, it kind of gives you an idea of the way that people looked at them in this town, even though by all accounts they had a lot of love and there wasn't any like real physical abuse or anything going on in the house.
Right. In the 50s, if you were a male and you weren't a quote unquote provider. Yeah.
Right. They called them poor white trash.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
poor white trash is kind of like how they, you know, described this family, but they were happy. And like he even goes on to describe his childhood as being idyllic. Like he uses the word idyllic. Like they had a lot of fun. He had a lot of fun playing around with his brothers. However, there was a change in Charles Starkweather when he went to school because he was born with a defect in his legs that caused him to walk bow-legged, and he got mercilessly teased, not only for that, but also because he was considered to be a little slower. And I don't think he was stupid. I think that he was, you know, it took him longer to like pick things up. And in school, sometimes that's hard, you know.
Well,
everyone
and then-
expects you to learn at the same rate.
My dad got that a lot, and he's dyslexic.
I was just going to say,
Right, he's
the
dyslexic.
number of people who were like misdiagnosed from being
Right.
dyslexic and, oh, you're just slow. No, I can't read this shit because everything's backward, motherfucker.
Or ADHD or any other
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
where it's just like you just don't have the ability, because in school, in public school, you are expected to learn at the same rate as
Pace.
everyone around you.
Yeah,
and like
right.
if you don't, then people think that you're stupid.
Yeah.
And so he was teased a lot. The only class that he was good at was gym. And so he really focused on gym and becoming really like strong and tough to the point where he started bullying the kids who were bullying him. Like
Yeah.
he kind of turned the tables on them. And, you know, by all accounts, like most people thought that he was a pretty good guy unless you got on his bad side or he felt like his masculinity was threatened or he felt inadequate.
Sure.
So a schoolmate once said, he could be the nicest person you'd ever seen. He'd do anything for you if he liked you. He was a hell of a lot of fun to be around too. Everything was just one big joke to him. But he had this other side. He could be mean as hell, cruel. If he saw some poor guy on the street who was bigger than he was, better looking or better dressed, he'd try to take that poor bastard down to size. So he was, I mean, it's
He's
toxic
insecure.
masculinity completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like super insecure. And he just couldn't deal. And he was also this like, it was around the time of like Rebel Without a Cause.
Yeah.
And he was very much this kind of James Dean look-alike bad boy persona. When you look at pictures of him, even after he's arrested,
My dad.
exactly like your dad. Exactly.
Yeah.
He had the same hair. Even after he was arrested, he's got like a cigarette dangling out of his mouth. He was very much like that. He took on that persona. He a lot of people described him as being like rugged and dangerous, and he leaned into that hard. So in 1956, when he was 18, he was introduced to 13-year-old Caril Fugate by her older sister, and her older sister had dated him at one point, and so she introduced them, 18 and 13. Okay. And so
don't
around
like that.
Nope, I don't either.
Nope. We're in agreement.
But yeah, I mean, not this isn't good at all. But like I will say, like
Different time.
it was a different
I was just
time.
going to say, because my dad, I think, was 18, and I think his first wife was 16.
My
18
great
and
grandparents,
16
my great
doesn't
grandparents
bother
were
me.
18 and 15.
That's
when they
on
met.
the edge. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I'm okay with that.
They
18
lied
and
about her
15.
age when they got married. So
You go below that, and I'm talking about like, okay, so you're a freshman at 13, and
Not
maybe
even
you're.
a
I
senior?
wasn't
No.
even a
I think you're in middle
freshman.
school.
Well,
I feel like you're
13,
14.
You're 13, 14. You're freshman.
it depends on when you were born. You're either 13, 14 or 14, 15. It depends.
Yeah, well, because
I was.
that would
I was-
mean you'd graduate at 17.
Oh,
It
If that was
depends,
the
but
thing.
some people do. So it depends
Yeah,
on when
I was-
you entered
I was
school.
13, 14. My freshman
Yeah.
year.
I was 14,
So
15.
you graduated at 17.
Yeah.
18. I just turned
14?
18.
Oh,
When
okay. Got it.
Yeah. So when they met, at this point, he is a senior in high school. He drops out of high school and he takes a job at a warehouse near the junior high school so that he can be close to Caril. And he spends his breaks every day
At the junior high school?
with Caril. Like they go on lunch breaks and things together. And they really begin a relationship kind of like right away, and they become kind of like inseparable right away, like much to her parents. Like her parents are not super happy about this.
I can imagine.
But Charlie actually teaches Caril to drive on Charlie's dad's car, and Caril ends up, I mean, she's 13. She ends up wrecking his dad's car. And at that point, his dad kicks him out of the house. He's like, you fucking let your little girlfriend like wreck my car. So he kicks him out of the house. And at that point, Charlie quits his job at the warehouse and he takes a job as a garbage collector for minimum wage. But So he had only really been exposed to this one area of Lincoln, Nebraska, where he grew up, which was kind of like a very poor area. Being a trash collector meant that he rode all around the city. And so he was exposed to middle class and upper middle class areas of Lincoln. And he became...
I'm sure that made him super happy.
Yeah, it made him feel really secure. We all know that he's a very secure man, as we've said already.
Like, look at those people doing really well.
I'm happy for them. I'm super happy for them.
Good for them.
But he becomes enamored with the idea of having money and status. And he knows that he's a high school dropout. There's zero way that he's ever going to be able to accomplish this. Through any like
not with that attitude.
Wow, exactly.
Well, no, you know what? He had a go-getter attitude.
Yeah.
His go-getter attitude was
Go get
Crime.
I think I'm going to start robbing banks.
Yeah.
Crime.
Yeah, exactly. So
Thievery.
He's like,
thievery.
go get it attitude.
Go take it
Yeah.
attitude. So he begins plotting bank robberies in his spare time. Of
course.
In his
Oh,
spare time, you know,
Yeah.
when he's off from the garbage truck.
That's what I've never understood about crime.
Spare
in
time.
general. No, I'm just saying that like the amount of energy that people put into planning these crimes, they can actually put into planning productive things for society and for themselves. And then what you get is what you give.
And I'm not even saying like, listen, school might not have been your thing.
Yeah,
I get that.
School's
but
not
like,
for everyone.
you could, if you'd put that energy towards something else that could have made you money. There are lots of people who didn't go to college who
There's
make lots of money
that
now.
You're passionate.
You know what I mean?
You know?
Yeah. But maybe he was passionate about bank robberies. So,
oh well, yeah, that's you're not wrong about that.
and so he really started to develop this like really nihilistic worldview where he was like, "This is all I'm ever going to be. This is as good as it's ever going to get for me. This is kind of like nothing's ever going to be better than it is right now, and I'm never going to get out of Lincoln." Like, you know, I can relate to that being from like a small city or a small town where it does feel like. You're not trapped, but it can feel like you're trapped sometimes, especially when you don't have resources.
Yeah.
And so he really thought that like nothing mattered. And he was quoted with his philosophy at the time being dead people are all on the same level. So I think he just really didn't care like what happened to him. So Caril was said to be a pretty typical middle schooler. She liked boys. She didn't really like school. Okay, all of us can relate. You're fucking 13.
She played MASH and she was like,
yes,
I'm destined to live in a
she had one of those
mansion.
paper. She had one of those paper fortune tellers.
She stole like nail polish from Claire's.
Absolutely, yeah.
And earrings.
And earrings.
Doy.
So knowing
doy.
what we know now, it's really easy to kind of judge everything she says or said. But there was a classmate of hers, and this is what he said. He said that she once told her art teacher when she was upset, "You old bat, one day I'm going to kill you."
Wow.
But this kid was like, or not kid because he was an adult when he was telling the story, but he was like, but there was a real like angst. It was right after Rebel Without a Cause came out, and a lot of teenagers were kind of doing this like really like, so no one thought that it was super, super crazy unusual to hear someone kind of lashing out at their teacher like that. Now, looking back now, we can be like, oh, yikes.
Well,
you know,
the whole concept of teenager is relatively new. Anyways, it didn't start until after World War I.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and during this time, it was a really big time whenever people were like, oh, teenagers are angsty. I don't think people thought of teenagers like that. People thought of teenagers as adults for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, so this was kind of the first time where we were saying like, oh, their adolescence is kind of a unique time in people's lives and like addressing that. So, So, like I said, they were completely like inseparable, and she was flattered that an older bad boy was paying attention to her. Who can relate?
Yes.
When like an
Everyone.
18-year-old guy in a leather jacket who smokes cigarettes is like, I think you're
Senior
cute.
was all about me at freshman year.
Yeah,
I would have been like,
me. Hi, hello. Yeah, I know. And you know, he had never had a lot of attention from girls, and she was very cute, and like so.
But also a child.
He was very, but he was very flattered as well that like he had attention from her. So it was definitely like strong infatuation, puppy love situation. So on November 30th, 1957, Charlie went to a service station near Caril's home, hoping to buy her a stuffed animal as a Christmas present. And yeah, you are back there, but he had no money when he got there. And I guess in the past with this service station, he had been able to do things for credit or been able to like work off things. But this person who was working there, Robert Culver, he was a 21-year-old guy with a pregnant wife at home. Mm-hmm. He was new to this service station and like didn't know that
that's not in the operations manual.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sorry, this is my first week and nothing in here says that you can come work for 30 hours and pay off this stuff.
Black and white. You got money or you don't got money.
Yes.
And
I mean, pretty much exactly. Yeah.
He's like all shrug emoji.
Yeah. All shoulders. Sorry. So he told him like, I'm sorry, like if you don't have money to pay for this, like I'm not going to give it to you. And so they had an argument. An argument ensued, and it infuriated Charlie, and he began casing the place that day. He came back several times. He bought cheap things. He bought a pack of cigarettes. He bought a pack of gum. He came back a few times, and then later in that evening, he comes back with a shotgun, and he forces Culver to give him the $100 that's in the till, tries to get him to open the safe, but they can't get the safe open. So he just takes the $100, then forces Culver to get in his car and drive him out basically into like the middle of nowhere into a remote location. And Starkweather would later say that they like fought over the gun and the gun went off and killed him. Right. I don't think so either.
No,
but
no one does.
He was shot in the head. Oh, so it kind of doesn't feel like you were fighting over a shotgun. Oh, and right in the face, you know? Yeah. Fight right in the face.
Yeah. No.
So he then, hid the weapon, hid the body, and basically like went about his life. And rather than being like super horrified with what he'd done,
this feels right.
He kind of like now believed, he went on to say that like he now believed that it freed him and he felt like he could now do anything without feeling guilty or without feeling like there would be repercussions for anything that he did. So on January 21st, 1958, Charlie goes to Caril's house. In the home at the time were her mother, Velda, her stepfather, Marion, and her 2-year-old sister, Betty Jean. An argument broke out, presumably over wanting Charlie to stay away from Caril, and he was told to leave the house, at which time he shoots Marion Bartlett in the head. After killing Marion, Velda starts screaming, and of course, 2-year-old Betty Jean starts screaming, and so he shoots Velda in the face, and trigger warning again, stabs Betty Jean, and then hits her with the butt of a rifle. And
the 2-year-old.
2-year-old, yeah. Ooh. And after that, he proceeds to stab the already dead Mr. Bartlett repeatedly in the throat.
You're already dead.
He wraps Velda's body with bedding, takes it to the outhouse, and stuffs it in the toilet opening. Ugh. Betty Jean's body was put into a cardboard box and placed on top of the toilet seat, and Marion was dumped in the chicken coop behind the house. Caril's part in this is unclear because, as we'll see like throughout this story, they have very different stories about Caril's participation in these events.
Right.
So we don't really know what happened, but she what we do know is that she and Charlie stay in the house with her family's bodies in the backyard for 6 days. They're basically playing house. They're staying in the house, the parents' bodies and the little sister's body.
Where are they peeing?
The backyard. I don't know. I guess in the backyard. So they play house basically until January 27th. Caril would later say that she was not home when the murders occurred, and that when she got home, Charlie told her that he was holding her family hostage at a separate location, and so that she needed to behave.
But you can't use that outhouse.
And Charlie said that Caril was an active participant in the murders, particularly in her little sister's Betty Jean's murder.
Yep, that seems about right.
That seems more right to me, but we'll talk about that at the end. So visitors attempted to come and visit the home during those 6 days whenever Charlie and Caril were staying in the home, and they were turned away by Caril. And she even wrote a note, which you can look at the note, that says, "Stay away, everybody is sick with the flu, FLUE." So she's now 14, but it's a 14-year-old girl.
Wow.
Everyone is sick with the flu. So eventually family members, they think it's the grandmother. She became suspicious because she came by and they were like, you can't come in here. And she was like, listen, some weird shit's going on. If you don't let me inside, I'm going to go call the police. So she leaves and she's like, I'm going to go call the police. And at this time, they packed bags and they went on the run. The bodies were discovered that night. And then earlier that same day, so January 27th, so they leave, they go 20 miles outside of Lincoln to a town called Bennett, Nebraska.
They're like, it's the 50s. That's far enough.
20 miles. I know you're in a car that goes like max 45, right? Like,
right.
So you're fine. Caril and Charlie arrive to the remote home of 70-year-old August Meyer. And Mr. Meyer is an old friend. He's an old hunting friend of the Starkweathers. On the way up the lane to August Meyer's house, Charlie's car gets stuck in the mud. So they leave the car and they approach the house by foot. Now, Charlie would say that August Meyer came to the door with his shotgun and like threatened him, which doesn't make sense because they were friends. Like they knew each other.
And,
Right.
and is it Charlie's friend?
Yeah,
then?
it's his family's friend.
Yeah.
They went
Okay.
hunting.
Yeah.
Charlie and his father went hunting with August.
Yeah.
So like they knew each other.
Yeah.
And so Charlie would say that like August came to the door and threatened them with a shotgun, and that's why he shot August. But August was shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
He was shot in the back at point blank range.
Lies.
And he also killed Mr. Meyer's dog to keep him from barking. So they drag the body to the wash house before going into the house, rummaging for money and valuables, and eating cookies and Jell-O. Is there a more teenage thing for you to do?
Also 50s. I don't think that people keep much Jell-O in their fridge
Anthony
anymore.
likes Jell-O. He keeps it around. He likes it. Aspic. Disgusting. So that night, because the car is still, they get antsy when night falls, and the car is still stuck in the drive. So they're like, we can't take the car. So they start walking along the highway. As they're walking along the highway, they're approached by two teenagers, two 16-year-olds named Robert Jensen and his fiance, because it's 1950 something. So
Right.
you have a fiance at 16.
Yep.
Caril King, not the singer Caril King.
Wow.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Not the singer. Carol.
Not the
Got
singer
it.
Caril King. And so these two, Robert and Caril, they pull over and they offer them a ride. They're like, you know, the young people walking on their own. They're like, hey, do you want to ride wherever you're going? Starkweather forces them at gunpoint to drive to an abandoned storm cellar where Robert Jensen is shot 6 times in the head.
Why?
Caril King is shot in the head and was found, trigger warning, partially nude with her sexual organs stabbed.
Oh my God.
Starkweather later denied stabbing Caril King, saying that it was Caril Fugate
It sounds
who did
like
it.
Carol.
Right.
Yeah.
And many believe that to be the truth, that like,
She's, like,
she
pretty.
got jealous.
Yep.
Like, you know, of the other Caril, because it's not like what Starkweather has done in the past. And so like when we go through these killings, because there's a lot of them. So like when we go through them,
God.
like to me, it sounds like most of the stabbings seem like Caril Fugate to me. And like most of the shootings seem like
Yeah. The stabbings are more
Starkweather.
intimate.
But we can't know for sure.
God.
So at this point, they take Robert Jensen's car and they begin driving west with the plan to go to Washington, where Charlie had a brother. After 3 hours on the road, they change their mind. They turn around and go back to Lincoln. I have no fucking idea why they
That's
decided to do
fucking
this.
bizarre.
It's so weird.
That's the weirdest part
because they're
of the
like
story to
running
me.
from the law, and then they turn around and go back to their hometown.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So around 8 a.m. on January 28th, Fugate and Starkweather go into a large house in the wealthiest part of Lincoln, and they hold the occupants, Clara Ward and her maid, Lillian. It's spelled Fancy, but it's pronounced like Finkel. Everything I've said has looked like Finkel. So Lillian Finkel captive at gunpoint all day until 6 p.m. So from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., they hold them captive. And that's when Clara's husband, C. Laura Ward, gets home from work. So Laura Ward, his body is found just inside the door. So I don't even know if he like made it in or if they just took him out right away. He was shot in the back and through the temple. Clara was on the bedroom floor. She was dead from multiple stab wounds. See, like all the women die from stab wounds. It's strange. And Lillian, the maid, was found tied to the bed, and she was stabbed multiple times in her chest and stomach. And she also had defensive wounds on her like arms and her hands.
Wow.
Lincoln.
That's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah. Oh, and we're not done.
Yeah.
Lincoln
Jesus.
goes into a panic at this point because like they thought once they were gone, they were fucking gone. Like they weren't going to come back.
Right.
And so now they're back. And they've gone into the wealthiest part of town and killed some people. So they're in a panic. Classes are canceled. People are getting their guns out and they're holding up in their homes. The National Guard shows up. It's basically like a full-on terror and a full-on like manhunt at this point. So we really don't know why they went back to Lincoln.
It's fucking
it doesn't make
bizarre.
any sense.
There's no information on why
Because-
they did. It's so stupid.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
All I can think of is they're 13 and 18, and they're just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're
comfortable and they
14
know
and
it.
If you're under 20,
they're 14
you're
and 19
stupid.
at this point. But yeah, like, I mean, I don't really know what else it could be because after they kill the Wards, they take their big black Packard car and they head back out west. So I'm like, why the fuck did you go back? It doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
Yeah.
Is there something like what? Yeah, like
I have no idea. I don't know. No one knows. They never
Yeah.
said. So the next day, they cross the state line into Wyoming. And when passing through Douglas, Wyoming, they decide that they need to dump the Packard. They think it's too conspicuous. It has Nebraska plates. They need to dump it. So they see a car by the side of the road. And they decide to pull over and take the car that's like on the side of the road. But there is a man sleeping in the car. There's a traveling salesman named
Bye-bye.
Merle Collison, and he's sleeping in the car. So Starkweather shoots him 9 times.
jeez,
It's overkill.
so
It's like
fucking
too much.
necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
excessive.
crazy.
Jesus.
But he is unable to release the emergency brake on the car. So there's a good Samaritan who pulls up who's basically like, need help there, buddy? Like, I can help you like with that.
What's all that red stuff?
Yeah. Hey, what's
Did you spill
that?
some wine back there? Huh?
So Starkweather points the gun at him and says if he doesn't release the brake, he'll shoot him. But the man, Joe Sprankle, he's like a big guy, and he fought back and he manages to wrestle the gun away from Charlie.
Yeah.
So with Starkweather disarmed, and this is just like dumb luck, a fucking sheriff's deputy pulls up and is like, what's up? He arrives on the scene.
Hey.
As soon as
Whoop.
no, whoop whoop. As soon as Caril sees him, she screams, "It's Starkweather! He's trying to kill me!" And Starkweather runs for it at that time, gets in his car, and Caril runs to the officer and is like, "I've been held hostage and captive this whole
This
time.
bitch.
No loyalty. These hoes ain't loyal."
This bitch.
This bitch.
So a high-speed car chase ensues, and the cops are like, pew, pew, pew. They're shooting at the back of the car, right? Pew, pew, pew. And a bullet ends up going
Is this
through...
Star Wars? You're
Exactly.
using like laser guns.
Laser guns.
Lasers.
Lasers. A bullet ends up going through the back of the car, and it pierces Charlie's ear. You can actually see in some of the arrest photos, there's a hole like in the back of his ear because a bullet went
God.
through it. And so he,
Oh, poor
I know,
guy.
right? Like he gets shot through the back of the ear and then immediately pulls over. Like he's like, ow, and like pulls the car over
Oh my God.
and is arrested without incident. Like he stops running.
like,
He's
yeah,
just like,
that's
ow,
good.
that hurt. Like I'll pull over now. So 11
You're like, "Give me your
people,
flesh wound.
11 people died during the killing spree. 10 of them within 8 days. They just
Jeez.
fucking 11 people, most of them within a 10-day span.
Right.
Or within an
God.
8-day span, I'm sorry. So Caril maintained the entire time that she was an unwilling hostage throughout the spree. Both were charged with first-degree murder. Starkweather insisted that he killed in self-defense.
Okay.
Everybody.
I shot
Even
him
a
9
2-year-old?
times.
Even if you needed
2-year-old.
to kill a
Yeah.
2-year-old?
Yeah.
Really?
It was
No.
self-defense. She is very feisty.
Yeah, you didn't understand. Like, she would not stop. No, never mind. Okay. Anyway, so I can't. Initially, he said that Fugate had nothing to do with the crimes. They both maintained that she had nothing to do with it. But then he pretty quickly changed his story. He even took lie detector tests to say that, like, this was her involvement. She was involved. She was actually, the mastermind behind a good portion of this. And not that they're admissible in court, and not that they're, not that you can't, be a lie detector test, but the lie detector test did back up his claim that like she was involved and an active participant in the events. The matron who was assigned, because she doesn't have any parents now, so there was a matron who was assigned to her to like.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm actually full up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm busy. I'm busy that day.
Ooh,
all the days. All the
vacation.
days of that trial.
I am on vacation.
But there was a matron who's assigned to be with Caril after her arrest, and she believed through her time with her that she was not a victim and that she was in fact the brains behind the entire operation, because she did not say anything unless she was speaking to the judge or the jury or on the stand or talking to police officers. That was the only time she ever said that she was a victim. Whenever she was with, like, just hanging out, she didn't really show any emotion. She didn't really seem like a victim at all. So after a 2-month trial, a jury found both Starkweather and Fugate guilty of first-degree murder. Starkweather was sentenced to death, and the now 15-year-old Fugate was sentenced to life in prison. Those who observed the trial said that Caril was unemotional throughout until she was found guilty, and then she cried. It was the only time she cried. Was when they found her guilty. Neither one of them showed any remorse. They never said that they were sorry. I mean, of course, Caril maintained that she was a victim throughout the entire thing. Yeah. Most believe that he drove the murders. He was the one who decided, like, we're going to do this thing. He, of course, committed the first murder probably without her knowing.
Right.
But once it got started, he broke the seal. But once it got started, she was a willing participant in the entire thing. And Starkweather claims that Fugate is the one who killed most of the women out of jealousy. Like she did the women, the stabbing. Yeah. At 14. Starkweather was executed by electric chair at the Nebraska State Penitentiary in Lincoln, Nebraska at 12:04 a.m. on June 25th, 1959. So they wasted no time. Nope. He is buried in Wyuka Cemetery in Lincoln, along with 5 of his victims, including Mr. and Mrs. Caril Ward. They're in the same cemetery. Wow. Yes, it is fucked up to the families. Fugate was convicted as an accomplice and received a life sentence. She was paroled in June 1976 after serving 17 and a half years at the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women in York, Nebraska. I feel the same.
That does not feel long enough.
She ended up settling in Lansing, Michigan. She changed her name and worked as a janitor in the Lansing Hospital. Fugate then married Frederick Clare. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Hot take.
I don't know if our listeners heard that.
Damn, Amy.
I'm sorry.
That is
Can you repeat why she worked as a janitor at the Lansing Hospital?
Well, she's garbage.
Yikes. I mean, honestly, throw the whole person away.
Wow.
So,
out of the mouths of babes.
Amen.
She ended up getting married to a guy named Frederick Clare in 2007, and
people find each other.
And well, okay.
I can't even fucking get a guy to commit
back,
to go
right
to a fucking pool party. Unbelievable.
So
that's a plenty of fish matchup if I ever heard of one.
But guys, listen. Okay,
we're back. Sorry.
Caril Ann Clare, as she was now Caril Ann Clare. She was living in Stryker, Ohio.
Oh, God damn it.
Ohio, I know. When she was seriously injured in a car accident on August 5th, 2013, her husband was killed in the car crash. Ooh. She lived. Her husband was killed. She's alive. She's still alive to this day. I watched an interview with her that she did in either the 80s or the 90s.
Who was driving?
I don't know. I don't know who was driving. Yeah, I think so. I think she's okay. She was seriously injured. She was hospitalized, but I think she's all right. But I watched an interview, guys, because I was like, I want to watch an interview.
I wanna see this
like
bitch.
her now,
This
and like
bitch.
right, because you want to.
Yeah.
You watch the videos because you're like, I want to see something, right? Like I want to see what's going on. And she was telling her side. She's maintaining that she was a victim through the whole thing. That she was a hostage through the whole thing. She didn't know her family was dead. She thought that and she starts crying. I say in quotes throughout this interview and. Again,
crying with no tears.
They talk on My Favorite Murder about Karen talks about how mad it makes her, and maybe it's an LA thing. I don't know. Whenever you can watch somebody and you're like, that's fucking bad acting.
Yes.
And
it's like, what's her face? Routier or whatever that killed her kids.
Oh, yeah, Darlie. Yeah. Oh, we've had this conversation. Yeah.
No, I'm so torn on that
Cassie's
one.
on the fence. But
Yeah,
you know
I'm on
who
the
I
fence.
will say is who was Princess Di? Not Princess Di, but the one who like tried to act like she looked like her, who killed her kids.
Oh God, there's so
her
many.
acting was super bad.
Susan Smith.
Diane Downs.
Diane Downs. Yeah, there's her too.
But same with this woman. Like I watched this woman,
bitch, Diane Downs,
and this is like 50 years later or whatever. And I'm watching her and I'm like, it's probably not 50 years, probably like 40 years later. And I'm watching her and she's crying about her family being murdered. And I'm not seeing any tears. It's the most like fake ass fucking crying I've ever seen. And people are very divided on whether or not she was a victim or an accomplice. Like people stand very strongly in one camp or the other.
Well, there is part of me that's like, okay, how culpable can you make a 13-year-old?
She's 14, but yes, yeah.
13, 14.
Now,
Now, here's the thing. I was a fucking crazy ass fucking 13-year-old. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
I actually managed to get through that without going on a murder spree.
Same.
Right. I do think that there has to be
Even
something.
With Cassie, you?
Yeah, 100%.
You were good?
Yeah.
Same, Amy?
Yes, but I do have to stipulate that when I was 14, I did say in 5 years I would be in jail.
Well,
But you weren't.
But I wasn't.
But you weren't.
But I wasn't.
And, you know.
I used to say that too, though.
Every day.
I used to say that all the time.
See yourself in 5 years. I'm like,
In jail or
in prison,
dead.
straight up Orange is the New Black. What's up?
I was like, meet you there.
You know, and they do talk a lot, especially in Born to Kill and in other things I've watched about that, you know, folie à deux thing where it's just like there is something that happens when you're with somebody who is essentially rebuilding your entire worldview as being like, this is a thing that is okay.
And you're so young.
So your brain is
so
malleable.
young.
So your
You're
brain
a
is malleable.
child.
But she's smart enough that when that deputy pulled up, she knew I need to act like a
Immediately.
victim.
So
Immediately.
what that makes me think is she had that fucking plan in the back of her
She'd been
mind.
planning.
And she knew
She
that
was
she
like,
was
if
younger.
we ever get caught,
She's very smart, but like, I mean, and it's those things that make me think that like, because it is also, obviously he was hot-headed. He could fly off the handle. He could kill somebody. He was capable of that. He demonstrated that before he killed her parents.
Right.
But also, you know, when I was watching this thing, they had a forensic psychologist on there who was like, I don't know that people ever really examined that maybe it was her idea, like that he kill her parents or that they kill her parents.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because she would have had more of a stake in that.
Yeah.
And
What does
also,
he
I don't
care?
believe he shot them several times. There was stabbing involved in the house. You're telling me she came home, because her story when you watch this interview is that she came home and he was hiding behind the door with a gun, and he was like, I am holding your family at another location, and like, if you
With all
don't
that
go
blood?
along with me, where's the blood? Like, that's what I'm saying is like, so you're
And
saying
you can't use your outhouse.
yes.
So even though we're going to stay here for 6 days,
6 days.
don't go pee in there.
right.
yeah,
Don't go into the chicken coop. Don't go into the outhouse.
go
Like,
in the kitchen sink.
how?
You're fine. This is
You're fine.
It's
This
really,
is how we do now.
It's really difficult to fathom that she could not have known.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how? Like, maybe she wasn't as complicit, but if that's the case, then don't straight out lie about it. Like, come out and say, like, I knew that this thing happened, but I was scared. Like, that
No,
would have
but-
been way more believable
Exactly.
than I had no fucking clue. And I was a complete victim for day. Like, she had so many opportunities to get away.
Right.
And didn't. It was, let me see, 8 days was the spree. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for 8 days, she sat in my car.
I mean, and went, she went from place to place to place
Right.
with this guy.
Multiple opportunities to quote unquote escape. Escape.
Right. Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, and in theory, there were also multiple times when she had weapons. Like you're telling, I understand fear can do a lot to a person.
Right.
And like maybe she was scared, but it just doesn't come across that like, okay, when there's a police there, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm being held hostage.
Right.
You know,
it makes
I don't
me
know.
think she'd come up with that
Right.
in her
Right.
head. And it's like,
At
well,
some
if this
point,
ever happens,
she
that's my-
decided. Yeah,
This
at some
is
point
what
she
I do.
decided.
Yeah.
So the Starkweather Fugate spree inspired several films, including The Sadist in 1963, Badlands in 1973, California, the one with the K, in 1993.
Oh my God.
Natural Born Killers in 1994, The Frighteners in
California.
1996. So,
Dude,
and
California.
Starkweather's electrocution by electric chair in 1959 was the last execution in Nebraska until 1994.
Wow.
So,
Who was 1994?
oh, I don't know.
And, you don't put that in your notes? No.
So sorry, I didn't look it up.
I'm all curious.
Yeah,
That's like,
hold on.
But yeah, I mean, it had a huge footprint on pop culture, and it made me think of it when you did Bonnie and Clyde, because to me, this is more of like
that's a hella spree.
the spree. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like a couple spree, whereas like Bonnie and
Well, at
Clyde,
least Bonnie and Clyde, I feel like Clyde had like a
motive, right?
Yeah.
This
a
was
mission.
just fucking
Blood-
mayhem.
Yeah.
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 No
Bloodlust.
reasoning.
Whereas, like, it was cool to learn that Clyde, like, had a mission. He's like, I'm going to fucking
It's not
destroy
okay,
this
but,
prison. It's not okay, but it, like, you make it make sense in your head. You're like, I get it.
I think
He
that's
went
what
to that
all-
prison.
that's
He
what
got
we always
fucking
look for.
abused
Yeah.
and shit. And I'm like, A
It's
plus
like
B equals
retaliation.
C,
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah, I think what's
Whereas
hard
this
about
is
Starkweather
just-
and Fugate is that, like, yes, they were like troubled teens or like whatever,
But,
but that's
even.
but
like
that's
we're
not,
all troubled teens.
Right.
We're all troubled
Yes,
teens.
yes.
It
But
all
don't
it
shoot
always
people.
sucks.
right.
Yeah.
We all have nihilistic worldviews
Yeah.
when we're fucking like
I
7.
have a
Honestly.
nihilistic worldview right now. you
I
know?
actually was. I've been listening to this new podcast. Well, it's new to me. I just found it. I got to look it up. I think it's called Suspicion. Hold on one second. And it
Ooh.
reminds me of this story because Suspicion. Yeah. Because this woman ends up with like 2 dead husbands. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing. I believe in coincidences. I think, and like
Lightning
two
can
dead
strike twice,
2 dead
sure.
husbands and like a dead son. Like lightning.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's
Listen.
3. That's 3 times.
I like that you had us until the
lead.
sun. We were like,
you
I
buried
don't
the
know.
lead.
So
Now we're like,
well, the son
I'm
died in like a
suspicious.
car accident, but the 2 husbands, it's suspicious. At any rate, called suspicion.
yeah.
Here's the thing: how many people do you know that were murdered?
Don't ask me that.
Ooh, Amy can't say.
I mean, I do know a couple of people who were murdered, but I think I'm an unusual case.
Yeah.
I think most people do not. Yeah.
I do not know anyone who was
I
murdered.
have one friend who has been murdered. I have friends who've died. I have one friend in my entire life that I know who's full on murdered.
I would say 2. I have 2.
I can't think of any off the top of my head who have been murdered.
That's not.
It's not common. No, it is not common. And in fact, like I would say that the average person, I think that we have more people that we know who are murdered in this room than most
Anybody I
people
would
ever
know, I
do.
would say,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
because I do think it's very uncommon.
Yeah.
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 I mean, at some point you got to be like, okay,
Am I attracting this?
yeah.
Am I drawing this to me?
Let me check my horoscope.
Yeah,
Is
honestly.
Mercury in
Should I
retrograde?
stay inside?
Again.
Maybe I should just stay inside today, like not go outside.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go out and get a motive. I mean,
An alibi. I mean,
a motive. I meant alibi. Yes. Did I?
oh my God, that was so good. I like, ugh.
That one, I mean, that one has stuck with me. And as soon as you told Bonnie and Clyde, I was like,
Yeah.
that's the first thing that popped into my head.
Dude,
I was
that's
like,
a fucking
and that
wild
guy
story.
was such a. The first time I saw him, I was like, that guy is trying to be James Dean. Like
Yeah.
he is leaning
Yeah.
so hard into that like persona.
It reminds me a lot of my dad. My dad was born in 1939 and
Yeah.
grew up in that same era. Hitchhiked, I've told the crazy ass stories. He rode a bicycle up the stairs of his school. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah, you got that kind of, like-
Rebel Without a Cause.
Yes.
That was definitely,
And
you
that
know?
was hot. I remember the first time I saw Rebel Without a Cause, and I was like, "Excuse me, James Dean."
I keep running
Why are you
away
so hot?
from Folly Ado cases, but they're
This one I think is a
think
true
they're
Folly
fascinating.
Ado.
I mean,
Yeah.
because you have like the Ken and Barbie one,
Bernardo.
yeah, and then you have the Moores murders.
Oh, that one's heavy. That one hurts.
I don't know that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know
you
it because
do.
you've probably heard
Yeah,
it on
you
MFM.
fucking do.
Oh,
yeah,
you'd know
you
it
have.
if you heard it.
It's Ian and Moira, I think. Yeah,
Oh,
Henley.
Henley.
Okay.
Myra.
Henley.
Sorry, Myra Henley,
Henley.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Ian. What's
But
his
they
face?
are so fascinating because there's such a give and take. They're also not all the same.
Right.
You
Well,
struggle with the culpability of like where that line is. And this one for me always was like difficult because I do think I absolutely
Yeah.
fucking think that she was involved. But what's her culpability as a 13-year-old kid?
Well, I mean,
And
and
it's
you
really
know,
difficult. And it's like, what is 13? Because 13 now
14,
is very
yeah, but yeah.
different from 14 back in the
Right.
50s. You know,
Right.
and it's just
Sure.
like, ugh, like,
And I mean,
where do you?
there's
I mean,
also
murder's wrong across all boards, but like, where was her brain at? And it's just fucking fascinating.
part
to
of
me.
what makes Born to Kill so good too is that at the end they have people who like talk about like you know, was it nature, was it nurture, like what was going on with these people, and they do talk about like, listen, of course you know right from wrong at 14, you definitely know right from wrong at 19, you know that this is not something that you should be doing. However, like when they were talking about their decision making, turning around to go to back to Lincoln and all that stuff, it's like it's partially because that frontal part of your brain is fucking not
developed.
developed.
It's not there.
So at 19 or at 14, it's not developed yet. So you don't have a full grasp on like
Logical
what
decision
long-term
making.
consequences are and like logical thinking.
They weren't playing that game. They
No
weren't playing
consequences.
Christina's
They were
game.
not playing consequences
Dude,
at all.
I've been playing that all my fucking life.
He may not have been autistic, but he had some learning difficulties
Yeah.
of some kind. Yeah.
Wow.
What is Born to Kill the one with that Patricia chick on it with the fucking makeup and the hair?
The makeup and the hair.
I think
You know
she's
what
in.
I'm
I know
description.
exactly who you're
You
talking
know
about.
who I'm
She's
talking
British?
about? No, she's not British. She talks like this. She's like,
Oh.
he was in the car,
Oh, no.
but was she
Oh, I know.
really driving it?
You
And
are
she
talking about
talks like this.
Women who kill.
Yes.
Yes.
and,
that's
and
women
her
who
name's
kill.
like Patricia something. She's like an FBI
Mm-hmm.
profiler. She has the makeup and the hair. I know. You
There's
know what
a
I'm talking
British version of her who does Born to Kill sometimes.
Yes,
and
but-
I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think her name's Patricia or whatever. But I'm like,
She's kind of obnoxious,
girl,
but I still watch
she's
those shows.
the obnoxious. But I'm like, girl.
No, but Born to Kill is good. I would suggest, like, if you guys are just bored and like you want to watch like some YouTube, like some good YouTube documentaries. I think they have one on Ted Bundy. They have one on Jeffrey Dahmer. They've got
They've got
like,
all of
It's all the serial killer ones.
all of the
Yeah.
hits.
Yeah.
All of the hits.
All the hits.
Yeah.
So you can go in and
Yikes.
watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes on bikes. Sorry, guys. But
Yeah.
I mean, true. That is what it is. You can go and watch that. It is good.
funny to see like the difference between like when you're talking about like Folie à Deux. Like you look at like when you look at a case like this, these two, I'm with you. Like they clearly were in cahoots. They were, and not to say that Bonnie and Clyde weren't in cahoots,
Right.
but I think on all accounts, everyone said,
Well, I think-
everyone has
Yeah.
said Bonnie shot no one. Bonnie didn't kill anyone.
I think the interesting
She was
about
along for the
Folie à
ride.
Deux is that like they're driving each other, right?
Sure.
Whereas
Yeah.
like I think Starkweather probably would have done and did do things like on his own, but
it was
like I don't
amplified.
know if Caril would have if she hadn't had. I think she's absolutely like
Sure.
a psychopath, but I also think that like
They amplified each other.
she wouldn't have done anything if she hadn't had somebody who could have gotten her kickstarted.
No, 'cause that's
you know
the
what I
thing,
mean?
and
that's
Like,
the
Clyde
thing is
would
that
have
there
done
are-
everything he did with or without Bonnie. Period.
There are female psychopaths, but because we're socialized
Yes.
different, I feel like when a Folie à Deux situation allows females to be violent on a physical level when we normally wouldn't be.
Sure.
Like female psychopaths.
Right, like I think Myra
Because-
Henley was just as
As
like guilty
psychopathic.
and psychopathic as
Correct.
Ian Brady, but she
Yep.
probably wouldn't have done what she did
No.
if
If it
he
wasn't-
hadn't
No,
kickstarted
'cause
that
female,
shit.
Female
You know what I mean?
psychopaths tend to do like self-harm, or they do harm to kids, or like all kinds of other
Or it's
weird
a distant
shit.
kind of
It's a
harm.
distant
It's not
thing.
as personal as like I'm
Correct.
going to stab you or I'm going
Or
to
we
shoot
sit around
you.
and talk shit shit about everybody. Oh
Yeah.
wait, no, is that not part of that? Got it.
We write in our burn book.
Exactly.
That's it.
You can't sit
She's
with
a
us.
bitch.
Shit down, that's evidence.
That's damn right.
You're right. I'm so sorry.
From my
Thank
own
God.
heart.
Well, we can't really do what we're listening to this week because we're double recording and we just finished something.
I'm listening to that show.
Yes, Suspicion. I'm definitely gonna look that up.
It's not
for sure.
new. It ended in December last year, and it was actually it's actually pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting story.
I heard MFM talk about cold, and I wanted to scream
too.
in the radio. I was like, Karen.
You know,
why are you not listening? Like, I wanted to
keep
hear
cold around.
Karen's viewpoint on the fucking tampons in the bag.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know.
But you know, I also understand people who can't do that because it is like, because I have a high threshold for that shit,
Yeah.
and listening to cold made me like want to tear my own face
but
off.
People who self-record, that's a whole nother level.
Oh, the clearing. Hi,
Whole
that
nother
motherfucker
level.
recorded everything. But yeah, I keep cold around
Wait,
on
the
my
clearing
podcast.
is Ed Edwards. He didn't
Yeah,
record everything.
yes.
Yeah, he
Oh,
did.
you're right.
All
You're
of
right.
his shit
In
is
fact,
recorded.
today's episode, you're right.
Yes,
That's
he
so-
recorded
yes.
all of his shit. He
That's
kept
right.
it all
That's
like
right.
conversations with everyone.
Yep.
And like, yeah, that shit is burnans.
It is Bernan's.
But like, I keep cold around because I keep waiting for fucking updates. I'm like, please. I keep Root of Evil around for the same reason.
Same,
I'm like,
right?
someone
Yep.
please give me like good news that
Still
comes out of this
subscribe.
bullshit.
No, I mean, I
And not a
think-
commercial
I think-
for another podcast, please.
Honestly, I get so excited. I'm like, oh, there's a new episode. And I'm like, I'm not going to listen to Ephemeral. I'm sorry. So we're done here.
Yeah,
I'm not going to listen to Insomnia.
For cold. It's just like, you know, we know he did it. We know he did it.
Yeah.
We know he did it.
Yeah.
No one's going to do
But
anything.
I want proof. I
They're
want them to
not-
find
no
they're
out.
one's
not
going to
they're
do
not gonna
anything.
find your body.
They're not going to spend more money. They're not going to find your body.
They're not going to spend another minute
They've
of time.
closed it. They're not going to spend another minute of time.
Or
that's
dime of money.
Yeah, that's. Oh my God! It was MFM where they were talking about that that law that they made in
Yes.
England that I think is just fucking incredible, where
Yes.
they deny anyone's parole unless they tell.
You better tell me where that body is.
You better tell me where that
Yes.
fucking body is. Oh my God!
Fuck yes.
We absolutely have to
I love
have that here.
I love it.
We have to have that here.
I love it.
You you have to give closure if you want. I just
you
thought
want
that
closure,
I was like,
I want
I
closure.
can't believe that's not a rule. That's
I love it.
fucking brilliant rule.
Yeah. But it also, too, it takes somebody from saying, who's probably been saying for years, I'm innocent, to saying, I'm guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Am I
Here's
going to
where
get
the body
paroled?
is. Yeah, that's the other thing is that we don't
Yeah.
parole the same way that they do overseas, where they give like 20 years and they get out,
Well,
sooner.
sorry, Carol Ann fucking got the fuck out.
I know she did,
Mm.
living in Michigan.
Ohio.
No, she was
Oh,
in
yeah.
Ohio.
Striker,
Didn't-
Ohio.
She wasn't living there, was she?
Oh, I don't know.
She was
Can't
just
remember.
driving through. That's what my mind
You're like,
said.
I blocked out everything else.
Let's try to see if she's on Instagram. We'll tag her. Hey, at Carol, you're on My Worst State podcast.
I found Ted Bundy's, the woman that he married whenever he proposed her on the stand. I found her on Facebook.
No.
His granddaughter looks just like him. We'll save that for when we finish up here. I'll show you. I saved the
Oh,
picture. It's on my phone.
shit.
What?
His granddaughter looks like Ted Bundy. Yes. Yes.
I thought his daughter was anonymous.
Girl, let's wrap this up. And I
All
will show
right.
you. I will show you.
Well, we're gonna go drink, and yes, if you have
see Ted
stories
Bundy shit.
and see Ted Bundy shit, exactly.
Yikes.
Go hang out with your girlfriends, your guy friends, your friends, whatever. But if you have stories, if you want to reach out, if you want to say hi, go to our one-stop shop of a website. That's myworstdatepodcast.com. We love to hear from you, and we love you so much. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Cheers.